Die von den USA diktierte internationale Drogenpolitik.
The international drug policies dictated by the USA represents one of the most seriously failed developments in the globalization process. This failed development would be correctable. A solution of the drug problem is thinkable if we say goodbye to the illusion of a drug-free society and accept drugs as a part of reality. It is a social task to find ways to deal with this rationally, not one of the police or the military. The key to the solution of the so-called drug problem is the removal of the prohibition and the legalization of drugs. This is a necessary proposal of practical reason, even if one is convinced that drugs represent a potential danger which is not to be neglected. Nobody in their right mind would wish for a society with an excess of addictive drugs.
The central irony of LSD is that the same drug used by spies as a weapon to control the mind was later embraced by many others as a sacrament to liberate or expand, or at the very least to explore the mind. How could one substance serve as such disparate and contradictory impulses? Now, the LSD story as a whole abounds with all sorts of ironies. Consider, for example, that a US intelligence veteran named Captain Al Hubbard was first introduced to LSD in 1951, just when the CIA was getting involved with experimenting with the drug. But unlike his cloak and dagger compatriots, Captain Al Hubbard saw the light on his first trip, and he made it his life's mission thereafter to turn on as many people as possible. Now that is really quite a plot twister. That is not something that the CIA necessarily anticipated. We should all be grateful that things don't always work out the way that the CIA hopes. What Captain Hubbard was doing, he started 10 years before Timothy Leary ever even tried the drug. So we're talking about the decade before the 60s now. As it turns out, nearly every illicit mood-altering drug that became popular as a recreational drug on the street in the 1960s, 70s, and thereafter had prior to that been scrutinized, tested, in some cases even developed by the CIA and the US Army. I'm talking about now cannabis, heroin, cocaine, barbiturates, PCP, magic mushrooms, mescaline, laughing gas, the whole gamut. The CIA looked at all these different drugs, but of all the drugs, all the substances that they surveyed, none triggered as much enthusiasm as LSD. Because for starters, here you had a drug that was odorless, colorless, tasteless, and potent in very minute quantities. And these characteristics were appreciated by astute CIA strategists who experimented with themselves with LSD, or on themselves, in order to figure out how best to use LSD in covert operations, in espionage missions. Now, initially, these CIA space cowboys were completely blown away by LSD. They thought that it would revolutionize the craft of intelligence. Here was a drug, they surmised, which would enable US spies to crack the secret code of the mind in order to control it. And they hoped to gain an advantage over their Cold War rivals by using LSD. Now, when I was researching Acid Dreams, the book I wrote, one thing I was very surprised to find was the extent to which the CIA agents themselves were taking LSD in the early and mid-1950s. Everybody in the technical service staff, this was a unit within the CIA, it was a small unit, about a dozen people. Everybody in the technical service staff took LSD. And the technical service staff was the unit that ran the MK Ultra program, which was the CIA's main drug testing program. It looked at various, not just drugs, but a wide range of different behavior modification and mind control techniques. This was the main research and development program doing this sort of thing for the CIA during the Cold War. Well, the technical service staff was not the only unit in the CIA that was working with LSD. There were several different units. And the first unit to get involved was the Office of Security. And they got kind of miffed because the technical service staff, you have to understand that LSD was really a hot item in the CIA. It provoked a great deal of excitement. And when the Office of Security saw that the technical service staff, which started later than them, was sort of getting most of the action, they got kind of jealous and upset. and they had a spy start looking at from their own unit, looking at what technical service was doing. And this produced a very interesting series of documents that was sort of rather, you might say, unvarnished. And at one point, an Office of Security spy gets wind of a plan on the part of a technical services agent to dose the punch at the annual CIA Christmas party in 1954. And the Office of Security guy very indignantly writes, I do not recommend putting LSD in the punch or at the Christmas party because it's dangerous and all that. The CIA people who took LSD were immersed in a paranoid, self-reinforcing, hermetically sealed world, a never-never land of eyes-only memos and unceasing experimentation, as one CIA officer put it. And not surprisingly, a lot of American spies had these anxiety-ridden bummers when they tripped on LSD. CIA documents actually refer to LSD as an anxiety-producing agent. That's how they defined it, as if anxiety was somehow encoded in the molecular structure of LSD. There were a few exceptions. There was actually, I didn't write about this, but I will reveal this for the first time. There was one technical services member who, after he left the CIA and graduated acid, ended up becoming a Buddhist meditation instructor.
Let's see what's possible. Let's form our beachheads both in the United States and elsewhere, because we know these substances are useful. We know some of them are sacred substances which can really change people's lives, which can really change society, can really halt the deterioration of our planet, and the sooner we get there, the better, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Die alten Schamanen oder die Schamanen zur alten
The old
Zeit
shamans,
saßen
or the
jeweils
shaman of the
am
old times,
Lebens
each
an
sat
einem
at the
Fluss.
river of
Sie
life.
haben sich hingesetzt,
At the river they sat down, looking over to the source on the left, to the source of their lives, the beginnings of their lives, and let the waters run past themselves in the here and now over to the future. And they sat there, looking into the river, until the river ceased flowing, until the water was eternally present. And they walked back and forth, while in this state of observance, sometimes they let the river flow, and sometimes they experienced the ever-present, timeless, genuine existence of the water spirit. And in the midst of this back and forth, in the dance of togetherness and flowing time, they kept creating their world. All of us are performing this dance as well. We dance a dance between the eternal soul that is constantly calling us into the beyond and the transcendence, and our soul which goes with the flow of time from the past into the future.
Wir tanzen den Tanz zwischen der ewigen Seele, die uns immer ruft ins Jenseits, in die Transzendenz, und unserer Seele, die im Fluss der Zeit von der Vergangenheit in die Zukunft geht. So lade ich euch ein,
Herewith I invite you that we may truly flood this room, as we announced a few days ago, I don't know when exactly, and that all of you sit down in front of the river of your life and look into the water, with open or closed eyes, and you see how the water, the river of your life, is flowing past you, and simultaneously time and all else stands still. Let yourselves hear the flowing of the river through the sound of the drum.
Fußnote zum Geheul.
Footnote to the chant. Holy, the world is holy, the soul is holy, the skin is holy, the nose is holy, the tongue and penis and hand and anus are holy, all is holy, everybody is holy, everywhere is holy, every day is an eternity, every man is an angelic walker, as holy as the vagrant, as holy as you. My soul are holy, the typewriter is holy, the poem is holy, the voice is holy, the hearing is holy, ecstasy is holy, holy Pitta, holy Adam, holy Solomon, holy Lysion, holy Kerouac, holy Hunt, holy Burrow, holy Cassidy, holy the nameless oppressed and suffering holy, the awful angels in human form holy, my mother in the madhouse, the dicks of the grandfathers in Kansas holy, the moaning saxophone, the holy bebop apocalypse holy, the jazz band marijuana freaks, peace, peyote, pipes and drums holy, the loneliness of skyscrapers and streets holy, the cafeteria so crowded with millions holy, the secretive flowing of tears under the band-aid, the lonely Moloch holy, the terrifying sheep of the middle class holy, the insane herder of rebellion, who likes Los Angeles, he is Los Angeles, holy New York, holy, San Francisco, holy, Peoria and Seattle, holy, Paris, holy, Tanga, holy, Moscow, holy, Istanbul, holy, the time in eternity, holy, the eternity in time, holy, the clocks in the room, holy, the fourth dimension, holy, the fifth international, holy, the angel in Moloch, holy, the ocean, holy, the desert, holy, the train, holy, the locomotive engine, holy, Wioness, holy, the hallucinations, holy, the wonders, holy, the eyeball, holy, the abyss, holy, the mercy, compassion, love, belief, holy, our body, suffering, generosity, holy, the supranatural, vast, glowing, intelligent benevolence of the soul.